Hello, Pastor Doug back again with another Bible brief. Today I want to take a look at Acts 14:23 and ponder the question, who should elect elders in a local church? Should it be done from on high by some group beyond the congregation, some bishop, or maybe the elders themselves appoint elders? Or should it be done in a more congregational fashion where the people vote on the person? Well, in Acts 14:23 we read, when they, Paul and Barnabas, had appointed elders for them in every church, having prayed with fasting, they commended them to the Lord in whom they had believed. This seems very top-down. The apostles are appointing the elders in these churches. Now, how would someone who is a congregationalist, like myself, who believes the congregation should have some say in things, what do you do with this? Well, many congregations could argue, well, these are apostles, they have unique authority and power. I mean, Paul writes half the New Testament, and so it's a unique first century thing. Or is it a missionary plant where you start a church up and you have to have someone make the decisions quickly? However, when you do a dive into this word appointed, it gets kind of interesting, because this word here in the Greek means to having a hand stretched out. It's a word used in ancient Greek literature to imply voting by the assembly. You raise your hand on something. You vote in the positive or the negative, depending on what's being voted on, I suppose. But here, this very democratic word is used, but it's used in a weird way in this sentence. Because most Bibles translate this, and I'm no Greek scholar, I'm not going to argue with those who translate the Bible, that when they had appointed elders for them in every church. So the apostles are definitely doing something, but this more democratic word is used. So what's going on? And if you read the folks who write commentaries, there's a debate. Is this simply the apostles appointing someone? Or is it a congregational election? Or is there some place in between? And you get a hint of that in the King James Version. Let me read verse 23. When they had ordained them elders in every church. So, is what's going on here some mixture where the people have a say, but also the leaders have a say, or at least put their blessing on that? We read that in Acts 6 with the voting on deacons, where the congregation picks the deacons, but the apostles lay hands on them and ordain them. And so I think there's a wisdom here that in churches there's a give and take in both, especially for Protestant churches, especially if you're of a congregational or Presbyterian bent, that the congregation should have some say, but so should the leadership, both the local leadership, and if you're a Presbyterian, or even actually a Congregationalist, folks from the outside come in and give their advice. And so this verse, this section, Acts 14:23, is an interesting verse to have a deep dive on, to ponder the right balance of how the congregation gets involved in leadership, but also how the congregation submits to wisdom from on high and having an appropriate balance. Well, I hope that helps. As always, Christ's grace and peace to you all. Amen.